By the looks of my watch, it's officially grave time. The day after Labor Day weekend, me and my Uncle George took a trip to Oregon and Washington to go visit friends and see some interesting sights. Unfortunately, due to the time that we chose to do this trip, it seemed that the summer vacation, travel season type of thing kind of came to an end at Labor Day weekend. Therefore, a lot of places that we were going to go visit were closed. Some were even closed because of the pandemic still. One of the biggest issues on our trip was our hotel reservations. You see, my Uncle George is in a wheelchair, and he needs a hotel room that's ADA compliant, meaning he needs bars near the toilet and in the shower or bathtub, so that way he can get in and out, as well as there needs to be plenty of room for him to get access to the bed, get in and out if he needs to. Also, the doorways need to be flush with the ground, meaning there can't be any high-level doors or anything that would obstruct the wheelchair access into the room. We had plans to get lunch at a restaurant next to the old Olympia Beer Brewing Factory. Unfortunately, the restaurant was closed for construction. However, we went over to the nearest golf course to have lunch, and there they had an interesting display of Olympia beer cans. In 2014, I purchased this book. Who would buy this? Obviously, I did. It's the story of Archie McPhee, which is a store located in Seattle, Washington. They sell joke items and novelty items, stuff that I guess normal people wouldn't buy. So basically stuff that I would buy. And we had to take a ferry out to Seattle, Washington. And that was my first time ever doing that. My Uncle George and Aunt Kathy had purchased property where they were going to retire to in Sequim, Washington. Unfortunately, that never came to be and had to sell the property. And we were going to go and visit the property this time around and see the new house that was built. While visiting Bremerton, we stopped at the Navy Museum to learn about the local history. On the 20th anniversary of September 11th, we stopped at Fort Lewis to visit their museum. This is where my Uncle George had his basic training for Vietnam. This was back in 1969. While we were there, he wanted to visit his barracks. Unfortunately, all that stuff was torn down. But the people here were very kind and very informative. And thank you all for your services, and thank you for my freedom.
But the bullets go right through it. And when they do, you can hear them. You can hear them, as you're going through the helicopter. So we were coming into a hot LZ, and I was, sitting there on the floor, and the aircraft commander, does this, and I look and he's going, and I went like that, and he said, so from about 6 feet up, we all jumped out.
Wow.
He wasn't going to put it on the ground.
During the planning of our trip to Oregon and Washington, we were looking at different museums around the states. And the Northwest Carriage Museum caught my eye. And let me tell you, it was a really cool museum. Both me and my Uncle George liked it. We wish we had more time to explore and see every little thing in the museum. They had stuff in there from movies such as Gentleman Jim with Errol Flynn. They also had one of the stagecoaches from the movie Gone with the Wind. And of course, since I love cemeteries, well, they also had a couple of old hearses there, which was really cool. I'd also like to make a mention that this particular museum was featured on an episode of Mysteries at the Museum with the story about Stagecoach Mary. The TV show is featured on the Travel Channel, and it's season 16, episode 12. Unfortunately, that episode is not available on YouTube, but if you're able to watch it, go check it out. We had hotel reservations in Long Beach, Washington. Unfortunately, our reservations were screwed up, and so we were scrambling trying to find another hotel. I roughly had 20 minutes to visit Marsh's Free Museum. There, I wanted to visit Jake the Alligator Man, pick up some stickers and a hat, and just look around, maybe even check out a swamp bugger or a jackalope. When I got back to the van, my Uncle George was driving, and I was making as many phone calls as possible to find a hotel that was ADA compliant, as well as a room available for me as well. I kid you not, I called 40 hotels and finally found a place in Castle Rock, Washington, which was on the other side of the state. While visiting Astoria, Oregon, I wanted to stop and see the Astoria Film Museum. There they have artifacts from the movie Goonies, because that's where the movie was filmed. And unfortunately, the museum was closed. So me and my uncle ended up going to Fort Clatsop to visit the Lewis and Clark Museum once again. During our trip, we were able to visit with old faces we hadn't seen in a while. It was nice to catch up with old friends, tell stories, tell new stories, and just have some good old laughs. Take a little walk down memory lane. We all need that sometimes. Me and my Uncle George spent a couple days in Astoria spending time with his good friend Brian, who he used to work with at the Florin Fire Department. Well, just like every good trip and bad trip, they all come to an end. It's time to go back to reality. Time to go back to everything you left behind while going on a nice adventure, nice getaway. I had a great time with my Uncle George, and I look forward to the next time that we can travel and go places and see things and make memories. And thank you everyone for watching this episode of Grave Time. God bless you all and have a wonderful day. Bye.